Welcome to the Jewelry Connoisseur Podcast. And now your host, Sonia Esther Soltani.
Welcome to this new episode of the Jewelry Connoisseur Podcast. I'm your host today, Sonia Esther Soltani. I'm the editor-in-chief at Rapaport, and my guest is Rick Shatz, the founder of Rick Shatz in New York. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Good morning, Sonia. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very happy to have Rick on this podcast today to discuss the current status of the estate jewelry market. Is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? But before we get there, Rick, can you tell us a bit more about your journey into estate jewelry? Because I don't think you started as an estate jewelry wasn't your first vocation.
No, let's see. I'm in this business probably close to 50 years now. I graduated from NYU in 1971 as an aerospace engineer. I went to work for Westinghouse. I stayed there about a year. It wasn't quite what I had thought it was going to be, being an engineer. And I knew somebody that worked for Harry Winston, and I was able to get a job there. And that was my first job in the diamond business, working for Harry Winston, learning how to sort diamonds. And I stayed there about a year. I wanted to go into sales, and they just didn't have an opening for me. So I migrated to 47th Street and went to work selling diamonds for a company on 47th Street. That kind of stuff for a few years, and eventually I went on my own. That was back in the 70s. In the late 70s, prices of everything started to go berserk. Silver, gold, diamonds all went up like crazy. Gold went from $300 to $850. Silver went from $10 to $50. And a deep flawless, which I don't remember exactly, but I think it was $6,000 or $7,000 a carat, went up as high as $63,000 per carat for a 1 carat D internally flawless. It was just crazy times. And I was involved in selling large off-color Cape diamonds. We were selling them to the Mideast. And when I say large, we were cutting stones of 50 carats and larger. The largest we finished was actually over 180 carats. And there was a market for it. There was a lot of oil money in the Middle East. And we did very well. And we had a captive audience there. And everything went great until the 80s came. And the diamond business went bust. And gold fell and silver fell and diamonds fell. And deep flawless fell back down to $7,000 or $8,000, and I didn't think we would ever sell another diamond. But the market slowly came back, and in 1985, I came up with a concept. I realized that people needed to sell, and all around the country, and I figured if that they didn't have the resources or the outlets that we had in New York. So I started trying to buy, or be their outlet, I should say, for things that they were buying secondhand. Stores always bought diamonds and rings secondhand, and they had a very limited outlet for themselves. They might go to their half a dozen or a dozen top customers to try and sell something that they bought secondhand. And it might have been a ring for $5,000 or $10,000. And if they weren't successful, they needed out. They needed the liquidity, and we were just that place. And we were buying mostly diamonds in those days. And my engineering background helped me a lot because a lot of diamonds secondhand needed repair and needed fixing or whatever in order to bring out the most out of them. And I was able to somehow conceptually look at a diamond and be able to see that. And that helped us quite a lot. I was buying lots of antique cuts and old European cuts and old mine cuts. And that kind of was my segue into the estate business. We didn't buy a lot of jewelry in the beginning. And truthfully, I really didn't understand the jewelry. But we developed a name that stores could trust and count on us to sell their diamonds. We kind of coined the phrase overnight check, and we paid immediately for whatever we bought, and stores knew that and knew that they had an outlet to get out of what they had just bought secondhand. When gold went up 6 or 7 years ago, there became a very big market for breakout melee, and we became very major players in that due to our connections with all these stores and dealers around the country and around the world as well. we had a large following, and they knew they could count on us. About 5 years ago, the store offered us a signed Cartier brooch that was no longer available in stores. It was literally a one-of-a-kind piece. And I realized then that there was a market out there, that stores needed a place to liquidate fine jewelry, signed pieces, really nice things. And so just like we did with diamonds, now we were in the fine estate jewelry business. And today we're I would say, a major buyer and seller of signed branded jewelry. And that's it. That's how I slid my way into this end of the market.
And as you've just described, it's a very cyclical industry. It goes up, it goes down. There are a lot of different factors. This year, especially with COVID-19, how do you see the market? How has the estate jewelry market been affected by this crisis?
Well, I would say surprisingly very good. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon because you would think that people are very concerned about money and nobody would go out and buy luxury items. But apparently there are people that are not terribly hurt by the finances of today and what's going on. And the signed pieces like from Tiffany, Cartier, BCA, David Webb, things like that are very much in demand. We all during even when things were really at the peak and it was terrible back in March, April, we were getting tremendous inquiry about these signed pieces of people wanting to buy. Not so much people selling, people looking to buy. And I think that they just felt there was a security in buying these things. It's hard to say. I saw this in 2008 as well. In 2008, when the market crashed, we were very busy actually selling, where you would think we would be busy buying. But reality jumps in and people realize that life is not forever and they want what they want. And now they're going to treat themselves to the things that they want. Just an interesting phenomenon.
That's very interesting. And how do you reconcile this discrepancy between having people asking for signed pieces, but sellers not bringing them in at the moment? Is it, how do you deal with this? Because it seems like it's actually a seller's market. It's a great time for sellers to have estate jewelry and to be able to satisfy the consumer's demand.
Well, you know what? I think there are opportunities both ways. The market is extremely active market right now. There's liquidity and there's high demand. So, and people seem to perceive it as a good investment to buy something that is a signed name brand piece. I mean, we've been seeing this before. You saw it in the watch business. The watch business was very hot. I mean, I'm not in the watches at all. I don't understand them, but there was and I believe there probably still is a very good market for high-end watches. So the opportunity is there both for buyers and sellers, and we're both. We're buyers and sellers. And listen, there are margins in between, and one can't expect to be able to sell at the same price that, someone that's selling into the market needs to be able to sell it a little below market. And you're not holding out for last prices. You're able to make above a little bit above that market based on having what somebody wants. And we carry a large inventory, and we're online, and people can see exactly what we have. By the way, you should go to our website because I think you'll get a good idea of what we do. But it's I think the opportunities are both ways. It's the right time to sell, and it's a good time to buy.
And you mentioned a few names. You mentioned Cartier and Tiffany and David Webb. And you said people are looking for something special and meaningful after this very hard months. Do you see other makers and other brands being popular, or more who are the names that actually still have this perception, and not just perception, but of investment and long-term value?
I see all the major names. I'll try to think of some of the ones that are kind of that you wouldn't normally think about, but they're there. Names like Angela Cummings and Buccellati and Carvin French and Chopard and Oh golly, there's Patek Philippe, and then we're going into watches already. But even Raymond Yard, Roberto Coin has a following by themselves. There are certain people that's all they buy is Roberto Coin. Webb is very, very popular, and there's even names like I think I mentioned Bulgari because definitely Bulgari, Cartier, David Webb, Tiffany, Van Cleef. These are the main names, but you have things like Siemens Scheps and Verdura. There's just so many out there, and people have their favorites. But the concept of buying something that is that has a name is really important, and it's important to them. Somehow takes the fear away. Compare an item that you can buy secondhand as compared to what it would take to go into the store. And also right now all the stores are closed. You can't go into Tiffany's, and if you can now, it's going to be on a limited basis and by special appointment. But I think the major difference is also price relative to what things sell for at these places. Secondhand, you can buy really bargains. It's a market that's considerably below what retail sells for. And I think this attracts a lot of people to it.
That's very interesting. And do you see specific periods being more popular, even within like the Cartier or the Van Cleef jewels that you have?
Art Deco has always been a favorite. People just seem to, I think it's the look they like. I know there are people that have their favorite periods that they like. There are some people that look only for retro pieces from the 40s. And then there are people that they don't mind buying more modern, 70s pieces, 80s. It's not so much, I don't think it's so much by the name of the period, but rather the look that they like. And people have their favorites.
And how do you see the future of, the future is so hard to say these days, the future, but at least the midterm until the end of the year, early 2021, how the sector is going to evolve?
Well, it's interesting. I could turn out to look very foolish when you finally put this webcast out, because I know it's not coming out tomorrow. But I think it will remain strong. I think we're definitely going through a very strong period. I think when the COVID crisis is over, it will get even stronger. It's not like it started 3 months ago and now all of a sudden, wow, we didn't expect this. It's true, we didn't. We kind of expected things would stop along with all the other businesses. But also a lot of this business is online driven, and the people have time now to look, and people have been home, and that's another reason I think why it's busier now than we expected. But the business has been busy for the last 3 or 4 years or 5 years. I mean, since I came into it. I can't speak from before that because I was kind of naive to what was going on, but it's been a very active and strong business. And I personally think it's going to continue.
That's good. That's encouraging. I mean, before the crisis, as you said, we've reported in Rapaport magazine and also on diamonds.net how the sector, the estate jewelry, the secondhand sector was very strong and thriving. And so that's good to know that things are going to carry on and build up actually on this appreciation for estate jewelry.
I'm really bullish on this aspect of the business. You remember, I come from a diamond background, and I was always a diamond person. In those years when gold and silver and diamonds went up, I got involved in gold too, and those were fleeting moments. And this feels different to me. It really feels that there is a business there. This is something very different. And I think it's for all the jewelry stores that are out there, this is a great. I don't want to say a hedge but it's a diversity. It's a diversification from what we were normally doing. You know, most jewelry stores, they'll carry traditional things, whether they're engagement section or earrings and studs and stuff, modern jewelry, because that's what we know. But this is something that's evolving, and I think it's finding its way into the local jewelers as well. They may not have hundreds of pieces to show, but these things are available. They're available online for the stores to present to their customers, and it's a market. It's another market. Just we're just going through a period, and we're going through a period where we're nervous about synthetics and lab grown and this and that. And I think that I don't see that taking over the market. I see that another piece of the market, and it will find its level, whatever it is, within the market. And I think the same is very much true for this type of jewelry. It's not for everyone. I mean, some pieces are quite expensive, and not everyone can afford those things. It may not be for the everyday person, but there are lesser expensive items that people can get involved in, and I think it'll be a segment of the business.
What's the proportion between the branded pieces and the non-branded pieces that you have at Rick Shatz?
I would say that truthfully, I haven't looked at it. I probably should have, but I didn't. But I would say that the majority of the pieces we have are branded. We carry all types of. We try not to get involved with, I would say, run-of-the-mill kind of stuff, because it's just not our business. But so we will have finer pieces, even if it's not a signed piece. But we try to push very hard to inventory signed pieces, because I think that's where the future is.
And which one of these pieces are you the most excited about at the moment that you've seen and that you acquire and you actually wouldn't let you be happy to?
It's like saying which one of your kids or your grandchildren do you like the best? I mean, it's hard to say, but there are things that do come in that are very special. We recently bought a David Webb bracelet, that coral bracelet from the 70s. They just don't make it with things like this with coral all around anymore. I mean, I'm not seeing it. There are coral pieces and pieces with a little bit of coral, but this is a really special bracelet with diamonds and emeralds and rubies. I think it has double lion's heads on it. It's a magnificent piece. The last, this would be like I was talking about before. This is a one of a kind. I think the last known retail sale on this, and I forgot when it was $235,000. It's just a magnificent piece. And I don't know of any others that are like it that are for sale. There's nothing in the market that I've seen. It's not like, oh, my girlfriend has that one. This one is for somebody that wants something very special. And we appreciate those things, when we see that. I mean, this was made by hand. I don't want to say they can't make these anymore, but I think they just don't. It's quite a job to put this thing together. It's really something special.
I think just the description of this David Webb piece just confirms the appeal of estate jewelry and how we can see what consumers and clients and people who are looking for something special are drawn to Rick Shatz and other estate dealers that offer outstanding crafted pieces.
I have to tell you, as I get closer to my golden years in the business, this has really pumped new life into me, because it's very exciting. It's an exciting business.
Thank you so much, Rick. I really appreciate you spending some time with us today and giving us this snapshot into what's the estate jewelry market, coming with your experience. I think that's very positive and encouraging, and especially to know that retailers also are starting to sell estate jewelry either online or in a store to create a dedicated column. I think that's very very positive for us all estate jewelry lovers. So thank you so much, Rick.
It was my pleasure. Please stay healthy, stay safe, and hope we'll talk in the near future and just see that maybe I'm lucky and what I said is true.
I hope it is as well, and I'm sure it is. Thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too. And if you want to know a bit more about estate jewelry, please visit Jewelry Connoisseur, where we have a lot of different articles on various makes, brands, history, historical figures and houses. And also encourage you to check on Instagram Rick Shatz account, where you can see beautiful jewelry, always very nicely displayed. So if you love beautiful images and estate jewelry, I would encourage you to visit. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for joining us at the Jewelry Connoisseur Podcast. If you enjoyed this and would like more top-quality jewelry content, check out the Jewelry Connoisseur blog at jewelryconnoisseur.net.